Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Monday, October 11th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Indiana game is in 12 days. The game against Michigan in 47 days. The Ohio State regular season has now reached its halfway point following the Buckeyes' 66-17 win over Maryland. That definitely has to rank among the more eventful first halves of a season in recent memory, from the emergence of an elite group of true freshmen to a massive overhaul on defense and a shoulder injury that led to a change of starting quarterback for a week. But the Buckeyes have unquestionably come out the backside of that first half in pretty good shape to still win the Big Ten and potentially make a run at a national title. This is going to be one of those shows where you hear directly from the Buckeyes. There was a lot of interesting stuff that came out of post-game interviews on Saturday. Not all of it has gotten discussed yet, so we're going to do that this morning. We're going to start with CJ Stroud. He became the first Ohio State quarterback to throw for 400 yards, throw for 5 touchdowns, and throw 0 interceptions in a single game. Afterwards, he said he didn't do it alone. You'll hear that, and you'll also hear a follow-up question from the legendary Tim May.
First and foremost, I just want to thank God. Without him, I wouldn't be anything. And, He gives me the talent, and I just give him the praise and the glory. But, I'm just, being more comfortable, being myself. Really just relaxing back there. And I think my teammates have really helped me, and that my O-line does a great job of keeping the pocket clean. Receivers do a great job of creating separation. Tight ends do a great job blocking and creating separation. Our running backs run the ball well. So, I just have to do my job and my part, and I feel like we're starting to roll, getting momentum. We're finally getting used to how each other plays.
What play you remember most from today?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I like them all, man. I really wish I got that one to Chris, that post. I kind of overthrew it just a tad bit, but, we'll get right.
Off the top of the show, I mentioned that shoulder injury that Stroud had. He took that Akron game off, and after that, he has looked completely different. Just huge plays against Rutgers, a massive day against Maryland, and you haven't seen him doing that shoulder thing after incompletions anymore. After the game, Stroud said, yes, in fact, his shoulder is now feeling much better.
I'm just feeling more comfortable. Then on top of that, God has blessed me with this supernatural healing of my shoulder. So, my shoulder is feeling a whole lot better. Every day I'm rehabbing it just to make sure nothing else goes wrong. But, that's kind of been the big thing for me. Then I'm just feeling more comfortable. I think the coaches are starting to trust me more with the football. 2 games now, we don't have any turnovers on offense, which is really good. So, definitely we just got to keep building on that.
One of the follow-ups to that question about his shoulder is, so does that mean you're going to be able to run the ball more? He did run the ball a little bit more against Maryland than he had in previous games. You remember, he was not running at all earlier in the season. Now you're starting to see that a little bit more with bigger games coming up against Indiana, Penn State, Michigan. It feels like you might see that his role in the ground game grow even further in the future. He said he's really not worried about getting hit at this point.
No, I'm past that. Out there, you really don't think about injury while you're playing. You're kind of just playing the game you love. So, definitely, if I can run the ball, I will. And I feel like I'm getting more inclined and more I'm running the ball, and they're starting to use me in the run game, so which I'm willing to do. So, we got to keep building on that.
Maryland came into that game on Saturday with a very clear game plan on defense. Load up, stop the run, don't let TreVeyon Henderson beat you on the ground. And to their credit, they didn't let TreVeyon Henderson beat them on the ground, at least in the first half. But what that really meant for Stroud was, well, Stroud has to do the job. Stroud and the wide receivers in the passing game has to do the job, pick up the slack if the running game can't do it. That just presents a challenge for Stroud and the rest of the offense to work around.
Yeah, that's the thing about just being a great offense. You can't be one-dimensional. So we have really good ways to run the ball. We have really good ways to throw the ball. So if they want to stop the run, and we have things in the pass game that we can work. If they want to stop the pass, we can run the ball. Then we both work for each other. The run game opens up the pass game opens up the run game. So, it's just all about balance. And I think the better that we can just keep rolling and keep this momentum going, the better balance that we'll have.
2 Ohio State wide receivers, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, each had a pair of touchdowns on Saturday, and the third starting wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba, was over 100 yards. Stroud talked about the importance after the game of spreading the ball around.
And I think that's the great thing about our passing game is that any given play, everybody has a route. So, and it's fun giving everybody the ball. Everybody's happy. Nobody's looking at you trying to mean mug you. And no one does that on our team, but it wouldn't be a good feeling. So I definitely am pleased and happy that all of my receivers ate today. So.
One thing that you may have noticed with the Buckeyes, in the last couple of weeks is that Stroud is using the middle of the field a little bit more. He'd been kind of staying outside of the hash marks or even outside of the numbers in a lot of cases earlier in the season. Now he seems to be using the middle of the field a little bit more. He was asked, is that because of your shoulder? Is that something about the comfort of your shoulder or something you're able to do now because your shoulder's feeling better?
No, I mean, just like I said earlier, I just take what the defense gives me. And if it's there, I'll rip it. If it's not, then I have to be smart with the football. So, I mean, my game has never changed. I've never just felt like the game ever sped up, even, you know what I'm saying? So I think the game of football stays the same. It's just on how you can be more comfortable out there and be more relaxed and have your coaches lean and trust on you. I think that was the biggest thing for me going into these past couple weeks. So, I mean, I don't think my game has ever changed, just got a little more comfortable.
It is unquestionable that CJ Stroud looks much more comfortable now than he did just a month and a half ago. And that makes sense. He was a first-time starter in that Minnesota game, first-time home starter against Oregon, and that shoulder was kind of barking. So how much more comfortable is he now than at the start of the season? Here's his answer on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel blessed. I mean, I'm in a great program, a great university with great fans and great band. Like, we have a lot of great things going on. So, I mean, I don't think back then I really knew what type of environment I was in. I didn't really know what type of program I was in and type of support that we get. And so it really took those couple games just to feel the love. I mean, sometimes even feel the hate, which I love. I mean, you gotta love it. I mean, if you really love this game, you have to love the good and the bad. So, I mean, God has blessed me with this opportunity to play on this platform, and I'm just gonna do nothing but just give Him the glory and the praise. I'm really blessed to be in this position, and I just want to keep going, man, and keep like trying to be the best offense in the country.
In addition to Stroud, we also got to talk to Ohio State head coach Ryan Day after the game. He was pretty happy with the offensive performance overall, especially the play of the wide receivers. They were, again, 2 wide receivers with 2 touchdowns. The third one had 100 yards. I mean, that is a day that you're going to take 10 times out of 10. So how were these wide receivers so wide open all day long for CJ Stroud?
Yeah, I mean, the personnel certainly helps. Having Chris and Garrett and Jackson and Jeremy, Emeka and Marvin, I mean, those guys are very, very talented and very gifted. So they do a great job of getting open. The plays look a lot better when you have really good players out there.
Another wide receiver who is not making a huge impact on the passing game yet, but is making his presence felt in other areas, is true freshman Emeka Igbooka. He had 3 catches on Saturday. Not a huge play, but contributing. But in that return game, he hit some big ones. He averaged more than 40 yards per kick return, had a long north of 60. He is starting to make himself really a big difference in that return game. Here's what Day had to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that, and it's everybody. You know, you can't just return on your own. You need a really good unit in front of you. And I think that those guys have put a lot of work in, and we've seen where it's been 1 or 2 guys that just maybe didn't finish their block, and then it would have been at least on the kicker. And when we got there today, but I got to tribute, Emeka, or give credit to Emeka because his approach every day has been very mature, not much like a freshman. So that part has been great. Took care of the football, hit some big, and that really flips the field for us. Getting the ball at midfield, it's huge. But it's everybody involved, and there's a lot of guys on that kickoff return unit that deserve credit.
We talked earlier about how CJ Stroud is feeling much better, much more comfortable. But how is Ryan Day feeling about CJ Stroud right now? You'll hear that answer, and then you're going to hear a follow-up from Bill Landis of The Athletic.
Well, I think he's executing it at a fairly high level right now. Still has a lot to build on, and he'll tell you he missed a few things coming out of halftime, and we got to keep building that. But I think his preparation has been excellent. I think he sees the field well. He's got some good players around him, but he's also making some really good throws. His timing's been right. He's seeing the field. He's making good decisions. And so that's allowing us to run the offense and be very efficient. So is he there yet? Absolutely not. He's still got a long way to go, but I'm very encouraged by what I've seen the last 2 weeks.
Is he doing a better job now of moving on when maybe he does make a mistake or the ball's just not quite where it needs to be and he gets to the next play?
Early on, it was hard to tell because everything was so new. It was hard to figure out what was what. And I think the more he's playing, the more he's understanding that you can't ride the roller coaster. You just got to keep putting one play in front of the other. And he's going to have to continue to do that because he's going to have good plays and bad plays moving forward.
The turnaround of the Ohio State defense has unquestionably been the story of the first month of the season. They went from one of the shakiest defenses you could remember in recent Ohio State history to all of a sudden a defense that looks pretty darn solid and is, yes, in fact, even scoring points every week. They have now scored a pick six in 4 straight games for the first time in program history. Day was asked, how has this defense turned around so far, so fast?
Well, I see confidence. I see, a defensive staff that's working together. I got to give, Kerry Combs got the game ball today. And it's because of everything that he's been through the last couple weeks. And he's just continued to show up every day. And he's a huge part of the defense. I mean, but at the same time, that we reconstruct a few things and that we got a little rhythm going. I think he's doing a great job of seeing it from the box. I think Matt's doing a great job of calling it. I think Larry's doing a great job with his guys up front. Al Washington's starting to build some stability at the linebacker. And those guys all working together is starting to see it through one lens, and you can feel it out there. The confidence is there, it's strong, and we still have a lot of football to play and some really good opponents, here in the second half of the season. So, we haven't done anything just yet, but we're building on it.
One of the reasons you have seen such incredible change for the Buckeyes over the course of the first month and a half of the season is that they are a very young team. There are a lot of true freshmen and redshirt freshmen playing major, major roles on this year's squad. And Ryan Day acknowledged, yes, they are a very young team. And while there is still some significant progress being made, he wanted to make sure everyone knows they are not where they need to be just yet.
Well, I think there was a lot of guys who just didn't have a lot of experience, and maybe there wasn't a lot of confidence in the fact that they could do it themselves, but also that the guy next to them could do it. Being with fans and going through the skull session and the walk, and all those things were new for everybody. And it took a while to get some guys some reps under their belt to build some confidence. And again, we're still nowhere here. I mean, we got a long way to go, but you can see it's a different team right now. There's a different walk. There's a different look in our eye.
One area where the Buckeyes have made a ton of progress since the start of the season is at linebacker. They have shifted a lot of personnel around. They're getting contributions from a lot of guys that you weren't necessarily expecting them to at the beginning of the season. So how has Ryan Day seen that play out over the last month? You'll hear that answer, and then you'll also hear a follow-up from Brendan Gulick of SI about the defensive ends.
I think Al Washington's been doing a great job of that. Those guys are fitting into their roles now. They understand where they fit, and now they have some experience to go back upon. And they're a very serious group, and to see them make plays and practice the way they've been practicing with their energy, that's a huge uplift for our whole defense. Because, you got to be strong up front, but you also got to be strong at linebacker. Those guys are kind of the quarterbacks in there. Make sure everything gets straightened out. I think, we'll watch the film and be critical, like we do, because we have a high standard around here. But they did make some plays and flash at times.
How about your defensive line? It felt like your defensive ends today were as productive as they've been at any point this year. Your thoughts on the way they played?
Yeah, they got back there, and they certainly created a lot of havoc in the backfield. I know if they didn't quite get a sack, they created some sort of a hurry or a rush with the quarterback, and that changed up the picture a little bit as well. So I think we're starting to get more confidence that the quarterback may not see the picture exactly well because we changed the coverages up, and that encourages the D-line to finish off their rushes, whether it's on the inside or on the outside with the defensive ends.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that show. I'm always surprised at how great the feedback is on those, but I guess you hear from Tony and Kevin and me and our usual rotating cast of Buckeye Scoop staffers, and you don't get to sit through those press conferences the way that we do and hear directly from the players and coaches. And sometimes it's just kind of interesting to hear directly from them without it getting filtered through us exactly what they're thinking, exactly what they're saying. So we will keep churning these shows out whenever we get an opportunity. We are next scheduled to talk to the Buckeyes on Tuesday this week. That would be our only media availability because it is an off week. But we'll get to talk to probably Ryan Day and some of the players and assistants is the plan on Tuesday. So we'll have coverage of that at buckeyescoop.com. And we have a bunch of other fun stuff coming later on this week. I have a story that I got to work on Saturday during the game and right after the game that I'm very excited to share. We're going to put that together, and that'll be one of our shows later on this week. It's a story that I've been wanting to do for a couple of years now and finally got a chance to do it. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But we'll have a ton of great coverage at buckeyescoop.com. And of course, we will have our usual rotating crew of guests later on this week. We'll try and get Ross Fulton on, and there's some exciting recruiting news potentially coming. Mark Givler is on the road talking to some of Ohio State's very big targets from other parts of the country. Try and get him on a little later on this week. Should be no Ohio State game this weekend, but it should be a fascinating and very busy week at BuckeyeScoop.com. So if you are not a member there, I would suggest you maybe consider signing up for a membership. It is a fantastic team of insiders, insight analysis you can't get anywhere else, plus a really, really fun and exciting and active community on our Ask the Insiders board. You can sign up today at BuckeyeScoop.com. It is the price of a lousy chain store pizza. And instead of heartburn, you get the best Buckeye coverage in the market, a fantastic community, and so much more. That's all at BuckeyeScoop.com. If you have not checked out our podcast recently, we have some great shows. Alex Gleitman does Around the Oval every week. We have the Gives in the Bank podcast with Mark Givler and Bill the Bank Green. We have Dominique Smith's podcast, Beyond the Shoe. We have the new Big Me Saturday podcast from Kevin Noon. All these great shows, you can find them all just by searching Buckeye Scoop on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. So just type in Buckeye Scoop. All of those should come up. I will give a hearty 2 thumbs up to each of those shows. Absolutely worth your time. There's a bunch of time before the next Buckeye game, so you got some time to kill. So subscribe to all of our shows, download those, and all worth a listen and all free. Just leave us, if you like them, leave us a 5-star rating and review. That does really genuinely help other folks find those shows as well, and we do truly appreciate that. And finally, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that bell. You can subscribe to our channel. That way you get notified every time we post a new video, every time we do a new live player and coach interview session, a live pregame show, a live postgame show. We have started doing some live Q&A shows for Buckeye Weekly later on in the week, and maybe we'll do one either later on in the week or sometime over the weekend. So the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of those is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. And then if you subscribe, you get notified every time we post a new video, every time we go live. You just get a little notification on your phone. And if you want to join us, makes it as easy as it possibly can. That's all free. It's all at youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.